3 was the magic number on Saturday. 3 goals, 3 different scorers, 3 different assisters, 3 points, up to third, 3 wins in 4. And yet the mood at Portman Road still not very festive. Join us to try and understand why here on Blue Monday in Ipswich Town podcast. Welcome to the Flagship show. I've been allowed to press the buttons and join. I need to swap the configuration. I need to show deference to DD in the centre spot. But Seb Brown, you're on the Sunday show. You've made it to the big leagues now. How you doing?
I'm all right. Thanks for that lovely intro. Thank you. Yeah, promoted from the usual Thursday night slot. So I'm sure I'll be relegated in due course. Don't worry.
Yeah, I made the trip down Saturday, of course. It was a weird one on Saturday, wasn't it? Like I gave the stats there right at the top. Like notionally, really good day out, job done, and yet all of us a little bit don't really know where we stand, are we?
It's weird, isn't it? Because you look at the league table and, you're third in the league. You've won on the Saturday before Christmas, 3-1, which you presume is a pretty comfortable victory. And yet there's this weird nagging doubt in the back of our heads thinking, are we going to be good enough in the second half of the season to gate crash the automatic promotion places? Yesterday was such a weird game. We'll talk about it in detail, obviously, but it was really strange because, there were times when we just looked pretty hopeless. And yet we sit here on the 21st of December, is it? And we're third in the table. So a really strange season and a strange game yesterday, a really strange mood as well at times during those 90 minutes.
We had fun after the game, didn't we, Dave? We had a bit of a knees up with Westy and Tony and Ian, and yeah, it was nice.
I think we need to give Westy a shout out. He's been through that. He's been through the ringer and the mill a bit recently, hasn't he? Bless him. But he's come through the other side and he's looking good. Him and Mrs. Westy as well last night. So good to see him out and about, and it was great to see him back.
Yeah, and similar feelings to Seb after walking out of Portman Road at 5:15, whenever it was.
Yeah, very much that. It was a strange game, and a game that really, not saying on paper, but we should have won it. We should have won it more comfortably, and he did. All right, 3-1 looks comfortable, but there was a narrative to it, was it? It was very sort of poor first half. No, very bitty, not really very disjointed, I'd say, first half till we scored, and then. And we'll get into it. And then obviously we let them get a goal back. And it did get edgy for a bit, didn't it? It really got edgy for a bit, And it shouldn't have done. We really should have been out of sight. It was a really odd game. It's a game where we said when we walked out, when we met out with Sir Alf and sort of congregated after that, you walked away thinking, well, all you can say about that is 3 points, move on. I mean, really, it was unconvincing, although it wasn't unconvincing. It was at times. It summed up our season. It really summed up our season. If there was a microcosm of our season so far, yesterday was it, probably.
Definitely right. And the context around the opposition, we'll talk more about that in a second. We're all going to go through the blow by blow, but a weird game where we could have won that 6 or 7-1, let alone 3-1, and yet we're still a bit mardy about it. Anyway, let's get into it. Great to see so many of you in the chat. Thank you for joining in. We'll definitely dip in and out and give us your views as we go on the kind of key moments of the game and your summings up. Of course, plenty of time for the questions from the guys too. And got a Sheffield Wednesday fan, Liam. Good evening to you in peace. We made hard work, got in there in the end. Bigger success will come. Had a go, but the golf quality was there for all to see. And Seb, should we start with the Sheffield Wednesday lineup for yesterday? And Liam, great to have you with us. Thank you for joining, and great to see so many Sheffield Wednesday fans make the trip.
Superb, weren't they?
It's a really tough time for that club, that football, that fan base, and yet good numbers, good noise. Had a goal to celebrate, and a few good moments which we'll talk about. But Henrik Pedersen, not that one, as we found out on the pre-match show. Tied a little bit behind his back in terms of selection. Seb, a couple of changes. I think Liam Palmer came in one time town target for one of the guys who went up to the African Cup of Nations. I think that was the only change actually, but otherwise it's Charles and goals, quite highly rated. Liam Cooper's come in. Seb, what was your kind of expectations of Sheffield Wednesday going into it, having done the research for pre-match?
Yeah, I mean, Liam Palmer coming in for Sean Fusere, who's gone out to the African Cup of Nations, was the only change. That was the logical change. I think you and me did pre-match on Thursday night, and we could pretty much predict what they were going to do because of the restraints on the squad. Pedersen said in his pre-match presses he's only got 8 experienced players, so he kind of put out the strongest team he could. And if you looked at the average age of the bench, it can't have been more than 21, 22. The players that came on, a lot of them were very young, and that's the unfortunate circumstances which they find themselves in. And it was a back three as we kind of expected. Dominic Iorfa returning to Portman Road. More on him later on with the opening goal for Kipre. And just one mention, Barry Bannon. We discussed it afterwards, didn't we? He's still got it technically, hasn't he? Can pick a pass lovely and sits in the centre of that midfield. So yeah, he did pretty well himself. But yeah, just as we expected with the lineup, the 2 up front. Although I thought they were slightly deeper. I thought Jamal Lowe was kind of the focal point, and I thought Kadamatri and McNeil kind of were 2 10s, more of a 3-4-2-1 than maybe a 3-5-2. That was my early reading of the game.
Liam Cooper's got bags of experience, isn't he, Dave? And we'll talk about him later.
I like the left-sided player. I think he's on loan from Man U, isn't he? That Amas, yeah,
Amas,
yeah, really quite a good player. There's certainly a player there, I thought.
Yeah, and keeper's highly rated as well. As for Town, Dave, it's a couple of changes from Kieran McKenna. Egley back in, a not massive surprise there from the Leicester defeat, and Kayusa in for Taylor.
Yeah, again, I don't think any surprise there. Again, I try not to be disrespectful to Sheffield Wednesday, but no, not surprised that Houston Taylor really wasn't. I mean, that could have been anyone, to be fair, but really wasn't great against Leicester, was he? So no great surprise to see Hughes there. Obviously, Egley was sick the week before, so again, fit, no surprise. And I think we said at the pub pre-match, that's probably our strongest side, isn't it, at this moment in time?
Yeah, and it feels like that number 10 shirt is now Nunez's to lose, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, would seem so.
Well, let's get straight into it, because I was going to ask you about Chuba Akpom, and I think the conversation about Chuba Akpom might revolve around what happened after the 5th minute. 5th minute, Philogene crosses in for Hurst, who heads over, probably should do better, but yeah, it's this time of year. George Hurst gets an injury at this time of year when we're in the Championship, doesn't he? And Athon has to come on to replace him.
Did he get injured making the leap? Did he get, because I mean, you still want to have 4 minutes. I didn't see. I mean, it's right in front of me pretty much, and you see him make the leap. Yeah, he probably should get over that and get that on target, shouldn't he? Great cross, by the way. And then literally the ball, well, I think it goes off on 9 minutes, but that was on the 5th minute. And then, as you said, and then sort of ball play goes on, ball's cleared, whistle goes. Oh, Hurst is down. It seemed pretty much immediately after that. I didn't see anything other than him leaping for the ball. What happened after that?
And I guess we might get questions about this later. It's December, so we're definitely going to get questions about January. But Chuba Akpom can't displace Nunez in the 10. Is he now? He's got to be backup striker, hasn't he? If Hurst is out for a prolonged period. I
was a bit surprised. I thought yesterday you might go like for like when Hurst went on and bring Akpom on. To be fair, but no, it was Azon who obviously got the nod. But yeah, certainly, as it looks as if Hurst might be out for it. I mean, we can't. No one said anything yet. Obviously, I think they said. I thought it was a knee, but didn't McKenna say it was his groin, a tight groin or something? He didn't when he walked out.
Felt it, didn't he?
Yeah. So it might just be a tweak or something like that.
Didn't he?
He did walk off. It didn't look like a bad knee, certainly knee injury, any consequence as he walked off. No. So yeah, he was very, very frustrated. You could certainly see that. But yeah, I mean, Azon got the nod, so perhaps you'd expect Azon, if Hurst isn't fit, to also keep the shirt against Millwall, although maybe a different match. You might want the physicality of Akpom up front.
Maybe so. Yeah. So, do you want to take us up to Town taking the lead? Spoiler alert. And largely, it's Sheffield Wednesday that are on top, isn't it?
Yeah, they were knocking it around well. I thought they looked good. There was some debate pre-match. Would they come and park the bus like we've seen a lot of sides do recently in Portman Road? And the answer was no. They pressed us well, I thought. And they should have gone one up, let's be honest. Dara O'Shea picks the ball up off Walton. It's just a heavy touch, isn't it? Knocks it straight into the path of Jamal Lowe, sprints past him. O'Shea can't touch him. If touches him there, it's a red card. Walton rushes out to narrow the angle. Lowe kind of dinks it over him, and thankfully Kipre's got his mate out of jail there with one off the line. And we just didn't settle after the Hurst substitution. It really seemed to knock us, didn't it? We couldn't get our patterns of play going, and everyone just seemed nervy. The crowd were nervy. Some of the players looked a little bit nervy, and there was a kind of a 10-minute spell where I think was it Cadamarteri put a header from a corner wide, should have done better. Liam Palmer, I mean, Christian Walton kind of rolled the ball out straight to Leif Davis to try and get something going quickly, and he was immediately closed down, and Liam Palmer sort of tried to chip the keeper, I think, but ended up putting it into the north stand, thankfully. So yeah, there were a few moments when we really started to struggle, and then as a bit like the second goal, it gets to Jens Kjus in the middle as a diving run forward. He kind of gets a goes into the box and gets a shot off. I think it's a ball played through by Nunez, isn't it? Gets the shot off, and we see this amazing acrobatic effort from Philogene, and that kind of settled everyone down a little bit. It's a brilliant piece of skill, isn't it? You know, the shot comes to Azon, he gets the shot away, it goes up in the air, loops up in the air, and it's literally the only thing he can do. Amazing technique, hits the post. Ball then goes out for a corner, and the rest is kind of, you know, we settle down. But that kind of 20-minute spell after kind of, you know, after the Jamal Lowe effort, we really kind of rocked a little bit and did look very, very nervous at times. O'Shea's been excellent recently, but yesterday any ball over the top he seemed to struggle with, and his range of passing really wasn't at it. It was weird, wasn't it? A really strange atmosphere both on and off the pitch in the kind of the first 40 minutes of the game.
Dare you speculate as to why, Seb? I thought you were right that O'Shea didn't have his best day yesterday, having been pretty solid for us. Is it the atmosphere? Because Wednesday certainly weren't low blocking. They weren't parking the bus, were they? You know, the press was there, but we deal with teams who play the press. Was it maybe the nerves getting to people, or was it just players just making bad choices, bad decisions?
Hashtag bit of both, to quote my good friend there in the middle. I think, was there a weird energy from the crowd? Did we kind of think bottom of the league, -9 points, squad constraints? Are we just going to rock up and it's going to be we'll be 2 or 3 goals up at half time and it'll be a fairly comfortable afternoon? You know, there was definitely a nervousness in the crowd, made worse by the effort from the likes of Lowe. And I think maybe we just expected a much more comfortable afternoon than we got. And the Sheffield Wednesday game plan obviously was a bit of a shock to us all. I didn't think they would sit in as a low block, but I didn't think they'd be as kind of, you know, aggressive in their press as they were, and we just couldn't deal with it either in the stands or on the pitch, could we?
And the goal, therefore, Dave, came at a good time. Do you want to give your remarks on Philogene's acrobatic effort from the save from? I mean, is it Azon's shot is saved? Is it, or Kjus?
He's Azon. Kjus plays Azon in, and he drags it back on his left foot, doesn't he? Probably should. He's stronger on his right. He probably should. I thought he'd try and shoot across Charles in the far corner, but he checks back inside. Kind of gets crowded out. It doesn't really get a very good shot off, and it just bounces up. As Seb said, the technique's just superb. The power he gets in it, absolutely. I could almost hear the thud of the post from where I sit. I think Tony Rand said last night, it's sort of, you can hear the thud in the stand. He sits behind, obviously in the Rand stand, sits behind there as if thudded against the post. And that's when the ball breaks, and I think Egley gets crowded out for the corner, and from the corner, we get the goal. Just very quickly, Seb had highlighted the fact that Wednesday concede a lot of goals from set pieces, and we said step forward Mark Hudson, but it's a pretty by numbers corner and header, isn't it? But great from Kipre once again. Yeah, there's some good blocking. Is it Kipre? Is it Iorfa? Is it get above Iorfa? I mean, there might be a little bit of this. I don't know. Bannon immediately
pulling in there too.
Yeah, Bannon as Bannon does immediately is in the ref's face after the goal's given. You know, we know what Bannon, you know, great player that he is, but he does like to sort of ref the game as well, as we know from old. But no, it was Kipre was superb again yesterday, wasn't he? Absolutely brilliant again. Good delivery from Davis, and yeah, he's just too powerful really for Iorfa. As you say, a bit of pushing and shoving, but he gets there first. And great header off the bar in the far corner, keeper no chance. Again, only from 6-7 yards was it? Not far out, was it?
No, but clatters the bar, as you say, and and I was going to say settles the nerves, but I don't think it does. What is this, the 32nd, 33rd minute? There's still 10 minutes of the half to go. I don't feel, Dave, particularly comfortable seeing it out, are we?
No, I think after that it's a bit of a nothing end to a very average first half, really, wasn't it? You know, for the next, how many there was, 12, 13 minutes, it was not, I can't remember too much happening in that period. You know, they weren't really doing much. We'd got the goal, got ahead, perhaps we're getting a little bit more control, but yeah, I can't really remember any other chances after that up to half time, really.
And we the three of us did the whole reaction, and you've been quoted of remarking on the quality of that first half, shall we say? Can you recall? It's a different question. Don't worry, I'm not going to set you up here. But can you recall at Ipswich Town 1-0 home winning position that has been greeted with as much like meh, wasn't it? There was a scattering of applause. It was halftime came and Portman Road was very muted, wasn't it?
It was expectant. It was we said this all season, the expectancy level, and it wasn't. It, you expect yesterday. If ever was a game that the crowd expected us to turn up and win comfortably, it was that one. So the fact that we're only going in, as you said earlier on, 1-0 at half time is well, all right. So we're 1-0 up, but it was a bit like that, wasn't it? It really was. But yeah, I certainly think we'll get onto the second half in a minute, but we did come out the second half with a little bit more urgency.
We did, yeah. I'll stick with you then. I'm struggling to remember anything before we scored, apart from a few balls down our right-hand side that weren't particularly well defended. Need to shout out the really well respected 52nd minute round of applause.
Oh yeah,
excellent. Andrew Hammond, who sadly passed this week. Condolences from everyone.
And the club reacted quite well to that. I think put flowers on his seat and bits and pieces. Yeah, very good from the club.
Yeah, great moment that, wasn't it? And great to see. Do you want to take us to the goal, Dave? Because I haven't got anything else that I can remember before the 60th minute.
No, I mean, I don't think I have. And to be fair, we'll get on to Houston in a minute. It'd been he was, aside from perhaps the drive and I think the pass for Azon first half, which ultimately set up the Philogene chance in the goal. He'd been really off it. I thought he really, he was really a symptom of the performance. Really, he was just below par and off it. So, and this is what he can do. I think it's a ball forward. Might have been Bannon tries to find someone. I think O'Shea kind of wins the ball and it drops to Houston. It's just lovely when he goes forward like that and drops his shoulder, because he's big and strong, drops his shoulder. I think he holds off Bannon, but he just glides forward, does it? It's really good. And then we're really lively. He could have put that. He could, I think, Egley, I think, might come in
from the 90s, isn't he?
Yeah, I know. Egley might come in off the right. He's got a choice of pass there, but he picks the right one to Nunez in the 10. And I mean, you're off then, aren't you? Nunez just picks it up. Perfectly weighted ball into Philogene. I mean, he's just not going to miss from there, is he? I think he perhaps carries it forward on his left side, kind of maybe gives the keeper the eyes, maybe. I don't think I've seen it from behind the goal, but just thrashes it low, sort of through the keeper almost, doesn't he? Absolutely hammers it in from about 6-7 yards. You didn't expect him to miss that.
And so we're now getting these kind of half slow-mo replays from behind the goal, don't we, that the club put on the socials. And as Streaky's mentioned, Nunez, he's got so much stuff that you can see. He's got Athon making a great run right of him. He's got Philogene to the left, as Dave was saying, and you get to see the weight of the pass. And as Streaky says, it's always spot on, isn't it? It's very similar to the pass Radon for the third goal against Norwich, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. The quality of the pass, the weight of the pass is absolutely excellent. And Philogene in that level of form at Portman Road is never going to kind of give up that opportunity. So that really settled it down, because we did start well in the second half. I know not much went on before the goal, but we had seemed to come out the blocks a lot sharper. And then you kind of think, okay, 2-0. Comfortable. We all kind of figured that Sheffield Wednesday would tire, and the substitutes off the bench probably wouldn't help them too much given their age. But you kind of think then, right, comfortable victory. Let's go and try and get a couple more, see it out, and enjoy the afternoon. But yeah, it kind of they threw a bit of a spanner in the works.
They did, but before that, we should have surely made it 3. Nunez down the right has all kinds of different options, and the one that he chooses is Egley, and it just. Wegley. As much as we're going to talk about, I'll come to you. So coming back to Dave to talk about the Palmer Cooper goal. Sorry,
let's catch him.
We have chucked away some goals on Saturday as well, haven't we? Big missed chances and bad choices in the kind of the final pass or shot, isn't it? And this one on 67 with Nunez and Egley, should have scored it, shouldn't we?
Oh, it's just too much time, isn't it? I think he perhaps does pick. I mean, I suppose he could go drive it across the 6-yard box for which was perhaps the obvious ball for Azon, probably was in there. I haven't really looked at it back, but he sort of like checks it back. Everyone's, he's checked it back. And you think, I don't think Egley does a lot wrong there. Just Palmer's in a good position and just gets something on it, doesn't he? Is it going? You're behind the goal. Was it going in?
Oh, I'm not sure it is. I'm thinking it's really the post. I think he's got the whole. If I remember right, he's got the whole goal to aim at. Yeah. Got his back near post towards the keeper when he could probably go across the far. He's got got history of those kind of finishes. You remember the West Brom game? He missed a couple from a really similar position there. So I think he lashes that. He should lash that in, but
probably right. And then pretty much immediately afterwards, they should score before they score, I think it's Cadamartri gets in and sort of has a lot of toe poke from about very close in. He should really do better, and it kind of gets stuck. Walton makes it. You'd say it's a good save, but kind of gets stuck underneath Walton. That should have been 2-1 probably then. So there was a bit of a warning even after we missed that one.
And I will just chuck this in there just to be petty and a North Stand perspective. Dara O'Shea was wrestled off the ball in the penalty area for. It's a penalty all day long if it's
I didn't in real time. I didn't realize how bad it was, but I've watched the Town in 5 thing tonight, and I don't know what can the ref think has possibly happened there. It's played to the back post, isn't it? You think for all intents and purposes he's just gonna be able to score. And the guy's just basically wrestled him to the ground, and how that's not a penalty, I haven't got a clue. I didn't realize at the time how blatant it was.
Someone said it was like the playoff semi, the Bolton playoff semi, when was it Matt Ritchie or someone throws Johnson picks him up and throws him to the ground.
Yeah, it's a great shout. I hadn't thought about that until now.
Someone said that. Someone said that in the chat. It was very, very similar, but sadly, we had no Barry Knight wasn't the referee.
Barry Knight, we'll see if it's done for us. So we go, Dave, from potentially being 3-0 up to gifting a goal for Sheffield Wednesday, and it's blooming Bannon, isn't it? On the assist.
Crap. Oh, it's horrible. It's just, and if a Bannon whose quality, let's face it, it was an awful ball in. It was a ball in that just didn't get any sort of purchase on the ball. I mean, he admit himself, he wasn't trying that. He just put it in an area there. I'm sure he's like to clip the net higher. Pretty much awful ball in, and it's bad. I looked back and I sort of forensically took a look at this one, and I'm afraid it's Kayust again. Kayust should get more on it, and then he turns his back a bit on it. And I mean, look, you expect Cooper to only centre half. You expect him to score from there, and yeah, fair enough. Keeps it low, but 6 yards angle, just puts it in the far corner, and then there's a real edginess then because we think, for Christ's sake, we should be out of absolute sight here, and then it does get edgy because balls were then pinging in our box. In deference to Kayust, he makes an unbelievable header at the back post. Unbelievable clearance that is, because I think it could have been Kadamari just standing foot from goal, waiting to head that in. But yeah, he sort of gets a bit back on that one. Brilliant at the far post, but and it's also unnecessary. And then the crowd were getting really edgy and eggy as well, I'd say.
Eggy.
Both eggy and edgy.
There's a few subs, isn't there? We'll talk about Ashley Young in midfield, but Casey McAteer comes on, and we'll talk about him as well, Seb. But the nerves are finally settled. I don't have a huge amount noted down from, apart from that Key's defensive header that Davis talks about. And I guess if I want to quote one of my favourite bits of commentary from our promotion season from the 3-3 game with Hull, it's a very similar goal, isn't it, to the second? They did not learn the lesson through the middle of the pitch, did they?
Yeah, Barry Bannon tries to play a ball in, doesn't he? And Matasiwa, who was excellent in that second half, steps in front. I don't know how many interceptions he made yesterday, but steps in front, gets it onto his left foot and plays in Jack Clark. And yeah, strange goal, strange game, strange goal, wasn't it? Because Jack Clark closes in, and then the defender, is it Otabayo, comes across him, and you think he's just going to put it out for a corner or try and shepherd it out, I guess, for a goal kick or something. But does he lose his footing? Does he? I don't know. And Clark just gets a toe poke on it, and 3-1. And thankfully, all of our nerves are completely settled. But yeah, a really strange third goal. I can't work out what he was trying to do, if he lost his footing and just was trying to shield it out or put it out for a corner and got it horribly wrong. But at that point, they'd made a load of subs, and they loaded the kids had come off the bench, and 3-1 with 5 minutes to go. I know there was 9 minutes of injury time, but 5 minutes to go. You're thinking, right, finally we can sort of, we've put them to bed, and hopefully now we can just see out the game pretty comfortably. But yeah, a strange goal at the end of a strange game.
It was a weird one, because our mate Ian last night was saying, "Oh yeah, that was great from Clark." I said, "Was it?" He said, "Oh yeah, I think he got a touch." This is the defender. I said, "I thought the defender was like in front of him." He said, "Oh no, he gets a little touch and then he finishes it again." And I looked back and said, "No, he doesn't." I think Seb's right. The defender slips and just goes past him. And Clark, it's good from Clark. It's really good. It's good to keep going. He just gets a toe poking off the far post. Bizarre goal, bizarre game, bizarre goal, as you said.
I was gonna chuck some stats at you. That's 15 goals now for Philogene and Clark combined. Philogene is 1 goal ahead. Has Clark scored a goal at the South Stand yet? Is it all North Stand goals? Put it out there. Let me know in the chat. He loves the North Stand goal, doesn't he? He loves the Cup of the Year celebration, which I'm not a big fan of, but I like Jack Clark. And I thought he didn't have a great game at Leicester, but I thought when he came on Saturday, he just added a little bit of calmness on the ball and took us up the field, didn't he, Dave?
I think pretty much every game he comes, it's an expensive 15 million substitute, but I think every game he comes off the bench that I see, certainly at Portman Road, he makes a difference. admittedly against tired, he always got that throw in the mix, tired defenders. I think I remember him scoring against Bristol Rovers at the Southend in the cup last season. I think
Okay.
he scored. I think he did. It was an apology one where he sort of half missed it and it hit him and went in, I think. But no, he made it different. And I suppose talking about substitutes, I guess this leads us on nicely to poor old Casey.
Oh,
Casey
Casey.
Mackett. Oh, Casey. Casey.
So I'll pose the question to both of you. I'll start with Seb. How many goals or assists should McAteer have got in injury time? The 9 minutes of injury time for you, Seb.
He certainly should have had an assist. He puts a great ball across the face of goal, doesn't he? And Azon can't quite get his feet out. He does make a connection, and obviously Charles saves it with his legs, but Azon should score that. So McAteer should be sitting on his, what I presume it would be his first assist for the club. Yeah, the game kind of just became a bit kind of, let's see who we can try and give a goal to, didn't it? McAteer had one, he kind of side-footed at the keeper pretty weakly, and yeah, he should have definitely got the assist. I'll give him a bit of a pass for the other two, because he was getting into good positions. He's got a bit of pace about him. He can drive to the line, pull the ball across. He was getting into, I mean, dare I say it, he probably did more in his, what was he on the pitch for, 15 minutes than Egley did for the time he was on the pitch for in the same kind of position. He was, he certainly should have had an assist, and maybe should have scored one of the, was it 2 decent chances that he had? But yeah, he's just so low on confidence, isn't he? And he's got this weight of this 12 million quid. That's the line that everybody says whenever he kind of doesn't finish or doesn't provide an assist. And had he been a 5 million quid kind of signing, I think he'd have a lot less pelters from the stands. But yeah, I thought he was unlucky with that one he put along the front. It was a really good effort, and Azon should have scored. But yeah, he just can't get a break, the poor guy, can he?
To be fair to him, there's been a few of those this season. I think it was one against Hull. He put in a really, really good ball, and you think, Hurst, just gamble, whoever was playing up front against Hull, just gamble on it, and they don't. But it summed it up, and then I think after that, he sort of brings the ball inside. I think he's trying to just play a fairly simple crossfield ball to Davis, and it goes out, and the crowd are going, mate. Yeah. Yeah, no, he needs as someone said, he needs a break, a goal to going off, or an assist, or a goal to going off his knee or something like that.
Saying that in the chat, yeah. And there's a great save from Charles, and I mean, he hits it really hard from point blank range. I think the goal probably would have been stopped, because I think someone kicked a defender in the face, perhaps. But I thought that was a positive cameo. There are folk in the chat who have a slightly different opinion, shall we say, but I'd be keen to see more minutes for him. But I guess the trouble is we may get more questions about McAteer, but I suspect we'll also get questions about Wes Burns. Dave, is who's more likely to get the most minutes kind of in the start of the new year for you, kind of January time? If Burns comes through the under-21s on Monday, that's a real head scratcher for McKenna, isn't it?
It kind of is, and it isn't really. I mean, you'd think Burns' first any game of any sort of appearance will be the cup match. I would have thought. Maybe, well, who knows? He may perhaps get some bench time. Who knows? Maybe probably Millwall will be too soon. Perhaps Coventry, Oxford. Who knows? Maybe. But yeah, it's. But you've got to probably stick with McAteer, though. I mean, 12 million quid. Surely you've got to try and stick with him, and just try and think something clicks there, some confidence, and off he goes. But as people have said in the chat, there's just not much sign of it. And yeah, do you know what? I like his directness. I like he's obviously direct. He's obviously an out-and-out wing. He's obviously direct, because Egley certainly isn't. Egley does not really make that run. Egley likes a ball to feet, and sometimes I think that's a bit, especially playing with Furlong right, that's a bit of a sort of negative, really, because it kind of breaks down. The ball comes to feet, and if he can't switch it off his left foot and go inside, always plays Furlong, who, let's face it, is slightly limited in that respect. So you've got that with McAteer is probably on that right side. McAteer is obviously a lot closer to Burns' style than I would say Egley is. Yeah, yep. Probably Egley technically is a better footballer. So there is a conundrum there probably.
We shall see. We'll take a very brief pause here from our friends at OWLS. What I want to kind of deal with what this game means in context of the season and our kind of mood post match, because as we say, there is there's an article in the Football League paper today that's kind of summing up the mood of the fan base. So I'm kind of keen to scratch the surface on that, and there'll be definitely time for folk to get your questions in and give us your views on this, because it does feel very strange. Not least because obviously we're third in the table now. I know we're a little bit off the autos, but let me chuck up in the air. I haven't done the flagship for a while, and I'm a big fan of attacking momentum graphs. And I just want to throw this on screen. Apologies for those listening on podcast, but just to check the eye test with Dave and Seb to see, is this the game that you remember watching on Saturday? Here you go. There's three little shafts of white representing Sheffield Wednesday, but otherwise it's pretty stacked in the blue of Ipswich. I don't remember it being that, clearly skewed in our favour. Do you?
No, the second half looks like it. The second half's pretty accurate for how it was. You could argue they had a bit of an extra spell after they scored the goal, but the first half felt much more even than that, didn't it?
Yeah. That's a lot of the start of the game. That's Hurst. Where else is that then, other than Hurst?
There was the header, wasn't there? Nunez put a header wide. Hughes got a shot off, and Charles kind of scooped it up.
That was a big
Nunez
chance.
arrived. Put it wide.
Yeah. So maybe the headline is not as bad as we thought, but we'll be back after this to talk more about that.
Blue Monday is brought to you in partnership with OWLS Solicitors, your ideal legal partner for property and business law. Whether you're buying a home, starting a business, or just need legal guidance, our dedicated team has got you covered. Trust our award-winning customer service team to handle your legal matters with care and expertise. Find out more at atwells.com or visit us at our offices in Ipswich, Colchester, London, and our new location in Woodbridge.
Thank you to our friends at OWLS, a show partner across the podcast this season. We're really grateful for them. If you want to find out more about them, there's a link in the description. In terms of summing up the Sheffield Wednesday game, guys, 63% possession for Town. XG fans, 2.92 to 0.8 XG, 20 shots to 11, 5 big chances to 2. Same. Do you want to chuck your Norwich stat in as well, Dave, in terms of the goal scorers?
Yeah, amazing. It's fairly amazing. Someone out there, probably Statman, will come up with it. But there's that same result and exactly the 3 same goal scorers as against Norwich in exactly the same order. All right, two was another one was scored at a different end. But that's fairly unique, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'll put that out to Statman, see if we can find a similar instance of that in the past. And only 1 home defeat all season, 3 home wins on the spin, Seb. And yet the mood doesn't appear to have changed. Give me your thoughts on this.
And we're at 2 points per game for the home form now. I think. I mean, we should be sat here in cloud 9. Yesterday, the results pretty much all went in our favour. We've had a decent victory. We're up to 3rd in the league, and yet there's just something nagging, isn't there? It was a weird game, a weird first almost half of the season. 1 game to go. We reached the halfway point, and it's just something. I don't know. It doesn't feel right. So many games this season have kind of become slogs, and at times in the first half it did again feel like a slog against what should have been a relatively routine win, I guess. Did we go into the season with far higher expectations than perhaps were accurate? Maybe we were all thinking dust off HMS, F the league or whatever it is, and all the money that we spent last year.
It's not that offensive, by the way. It's pissed,
isn't it? Oh, okay. Dust off the money we spent last year building this championship all-stars. I thought we were going to win the league pretty comfortably, and doesn't look to be the case. And I guess we've had a summer of change, a summer of churn, probably more so than we thought it. And yet, despite everything, despite the struggle that we've had and 5 defeats, not look convincing at time in a lot of games, we do sit here 3rd, and we've clawed 3 points back on Borough, and they're only 5 points ahead of us in that second automatic spot now. So still feels really strange. But I don't think even the most optimistic Town fans, I think if you sat them down now, I don't think they would probably be able to sit here and say, we will absolutely smash up the second half of the season, because none of us are feeling that confident, are we?
No. And go on, Dave.
It's just an odd one. It's just an odd season, because if you'd have said at the start of the season, after 20 odd games at Christmas, we'd be 3rd, you'd thinking, Leicester or Southampton are obviously Coventry, and one or the other are 1st or 2nd. So here we go. Unfortunately, we're just the worst of the 3 relegated teams. So I think, and perhaps where a lot of the expectancy and edginess expectancy comes from, that it's Coventry are 11 points ahead of us, and Middlesbrough are 5 points ahead of us, not Southampton and or Leicester sort of thing.
Yeah. Amanda, this point here, not just when the start of play, not what we're used to under McKenna. We are having to find a different way to win, aren't we, Dave? Because teams know about us now. I think we got the benefit of the doubt in that double promotion. We just kind of took teams by surprise in the first half of the season and got the job done, didn't we, in the second part? It's different now, isn't it?
It is different now. Yeah, we just rolled teams over. Let's face it, didn't we? And when we didn't, we found a way to get points, didn't we? totally different this season. Teams are coming down here, as we said, and also away with a low block. And yeah, we just haven't really quite found a way, really, have we? And a lot of that perhaps is done prior, let's say, for the Leicester game at one side, prior to the previous 3 or 4 games in that 10 role. But seemingly now Nunes, no, perhaps I prefer to see him playing a little bit deeper. But anyway,
6
Nunes
assists, Dave.
Sorry?
Nunes. 6 assists now for Nunes.
6, yeah, well, yeah. Look, and what, 3 goals as well? I mean, yeah, he's more. I did see a comment today. Maybe that was just someone speculating that obviously we missed out on Hackney. And I saw a comment somewhere today saying, yeah, well, Nunes was always our second choice. Well, it's easy to say that. We signed him, was always our second choice after Hackney. So that was an interesting one. And then someone, you know, and again, you said different, obviously completely different player. But yeah, it's still, yeah, as Seb quite say, you just can't see us. Look, the key is, and we'll get to result, you know, get to results in a minute. So it seemed like Hull. Let's say it seemed like Hull like 3 weeks ago. I was berating Hull because they were dreadful. Let's face it, we were dreadful with the first time, but they were shocking. I said, this sums up this division. They've just won 3 games on the trot, and they're level on points with us again. They're 4th now. I mean, how? And oh, look, no disrespect. I know McBurney perhaps wasn't playing that night against us, but goodness me, it just that sort of sums it all up, really. You need consistency, and so far we still haven't won 3 games on the spin.
We have not. And in terms of wider context, let's look at the results for the weekend too. We always forget that Leeds had a huge, massive brain fart towards the end of the season. They helped us get over the line as well in that double promotion. But you know, teams are taking points off each other, chunks out of each other too, which is helpful. And there were 3 playoff teams playing before we even kicked off. And Seb, the results went in our favour, didn't I? I'll get the graphic up right now. You know, weird, isn't it, that we've kind of got, the platform is set for us, and we should be really buoyant and take the lead and go from there. But you know, Mill lost to Blackburn. Preston needed a last minute. We'll come to that in a second. Equaliser, and Southampton and Coventry kicked the crap out of each other. Had a scrap at full time, and it's all square there. You know, it was all set up for us, wasn't it?
It was. All these results came through and we were sat in the pub and we thought, it's been an excellent day. And then, you know, get to 5 p.m. and Bristol City have beaten Middlesbrough 2-0 as well. So almost everything that could have gone in our favour yesterday did. You know, it was an excellent set of results for us. We've closed the gap now, sat in 3rd. The gap is now 5 points from 8 against Borough. They've still got to come to Portman Road later on in the season. It's just such a strange league, isn't it? No one can get going. I mean, QPR, we turned them over at Loftus Road 4-1. Was it 2 months ago now, 8 weeks ago now? And they've just won a load on the bounce. And yeah, they beat Leicester, who, you know, were pretty crap last week, but were better than us. They were 4-0 up at half time. So yeah, such a weird league and another weird set of results.
Anything else? Stoke defeat as well. They've not had a great run since I think they won last week, but a bit stuttery since they came to us. Dave, can we Swansea fans have got Cam Burgess in their crosshairs. We need to be sympathetic. I mean, it's a great attacking header. If it, I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. Was it a cracker? Was it? I must admit, it's one game I haven't actually seen the goals from. But yeah, so he's obviously up to 3 for the season now. And we were speculating, didn't we? We were speculating last night in the pub. What is the record? I mean, obviously he scored 2 in a game against us, but what is the record number over a season? So you've got to feel sorry for him. And just looking for. I mean, annoyingly, bloody Norwich seem to have found another nugget in this Makama, don't they? You know, scoring scoring goals for fun, but fairly scoring regularly now with Sargent out yesterday. But my old friend from Milsom's having breakfast, Will Keane. Will Keane popped up with a 96 minute. I got to the ground yesterday and I was saying, Kieran, my youngest, turned up with ground. Oh, Norwich are on a roll, aren't I? I say, what do you mean? He said, just got a late win. I said, nah, mate, you're behind the lines. Yeah. So good old Will Keane popped up, and again, but good for us. Norwich took points off Preston, having took points, obviously 3 points off a resurgent Southampton the week before.
Yeah. Anything else there, Seb? Do you want to? I mean, Millwall. I forgot the guy's name who's suspended for us, and obviously was suspended for that one. But
Femi Aziz, isn't it?
That was it.
Yeah, he'll be serving the and De Silva get sent off for Coventry yesterday as well.
Shocker!
He'll be out of the.
He's the left back, isn't it?
Did you see that? Oh, it's awful.
He'll be out of the game on the 28th or 29th, whenever it is as well. So yeah, even more stuff going in our favour. But yeah, Millwall was a shock. They've kind of dropped off a little bit, so it could be a good time to go to the Den on Boxing Day and hopefully take full advantage.
And
Sorry, we should say about it. All kicked off after that.
I was going to say, is there a touchline ban coming for Lampard here? Anyone?
I haven't seen it. What did he do? Did he rile up the crowd and somebody took it the wrong way on the pitch and all kicked off?
He was interviewed after and he said, this is football these days. For the last 10 minutes, the crowd apparently were giving him absolute pelters for the last 10 minutes. So I don't think he said anything back, but obviously he said we won a point with 10 men. So he was giving it all that afterwards and it all kicked off. I think it was between him and originally seemingly him and Howard Bellis. Howard Bellis had words. Wolfie was getting involved. There's a proper melee fracas, wasn't it? It's brilliant. Yeah,
Merry Christmas to one and all. Yeah, good stuff. Do get your questions in for Dave and Seb on anything. I will not be the transfer Grinch. If you want to talk about January, that's great. If you want to talk about Sheffield Wednesday, the kind of, we're almost at the halfway stage. If you want to give us your thoughts on that, everything welcome. Do get your thoughts in for the guys. Very quickly, in terms of what's going on, we are kind of in the midst of kind of festive season, Christmas periods up to New Year's, and we're going to try and look after you as best we can. Certainly, if you've got top tier access, we've got a few bits and pieces coming for you this week, and we've just done 5 memberships for top tier out on our YouTube page right now. But if you want to take advantage, we've got we'll get Dave's thought on this as well. Beyond the Scoreline, we're back on Monday to talk about the Sheffield Wednesday game, hopefully give an angle to it that we haven't talked about tonight. The guys doing weekend preview, they want to chat about the games coming over Christmas as well, so that'll be on top tier too. And we haven't figured out whether this is top tier or maybe free to access, but Dave, you've done a Blue Monday rewind. Do you want to talk us through it?
Oh, there's some
no spoilers, of course, but
there's some Christmas crackers in that one, going all through the decades. So well, not too many great spoilers. A little, very, very brief, very little brief sort of couple of minutes on the famous Boxing Day fixtures back in the '60s, when there was 10 top division fixtures and a total of 66 goals were scored. So we kind of touch a little bit on that. And then there's a victory. Not to give too much away. There's a victory in East London. There's a victory in West London. And the other one is, I can't remember. But yeah, of course I can remember. Again, spoiler alert, it's a little bit on the last ever Ipswich Norwich game we played on December the 26th.
There you go. So Blue Monday rewind, we'll figure out where to put that. Well, it will definitely be on top tier at the very least. And then Seb, I think we're planning some kind of pre-matchy thing, aren't we? This week, maybe? Yeah,
we'll do something for Millwall. It'll be one of our pre-match light formats, and then we'll try and work out what we're going to do for the likes of Coventry and Oxford moving forward. But yeah, there'll be something out pre-Christmas for Millwall.
And then we'll try and react to these games as and when we can. We haven't even checked availability, but we're not going anywhere. So we will keep you entertained, keep you company over Christmas, however that looks for you. So do subscribe. Do get involved with top tier. There'll be blogs, I'm sure, from Jack and the team too. So plenty going on there. So enjoy yourself over Christmas. If you need content, either YouTube or podcast, we are there for you. Worth shouting out as well, Rihanna Dean and Lucy O'Brien involved in ITFC women's first goal in their defeat, sadly, to Sunderland. Game tipped on a very marginal, I'm being polite, a pretty poor refereeing decision that then led to a corner that was scored by Sunderland, and then within a couple of minutes they turned the game around, and sadly that's the way it's going for the girls and Joe Shee at the moment. We wish them all the best for Christmas, a bit of a break, but it was great to chat to Rihanna Dean and get her insights on that, and hopefully some reinforcements coming in January, and hopefully they can give it a good shot, because they were very much the better team for most of today, and it's the way it's going for them at the moment. Just these moments not going in their favour. So we wish them all the very best and hope they can have a bit of a break.
I must say, listeners, that Rich wasn't half so polite in the green room prior to recording.
Oh, you can see I've slightly
steaming.
I did tweet about it, so go look at my X page if you want to figure out my views on that. Right, let's go to the questions. I've kind of been tagging a few bits and pieces to chuck at the guys as we go. And this one from Michael. Seb, are we expecting too much from this team?
I don't think so, given the caliber of players that we've brought in. We were spoiled, weren't we, with the double promotion? Obviously, last year was a massive reality check in the Premier League. But like I said earlier, I did go into the season expecting us to certainly be top two and probably win the league, given the talent we've got. You know, we've got two former Golden Boot winners in the number 10 who have got 1 goal between them. You know, you've got our best 2 players in Clark and Philogene and annoyingly playing the same position. We've got, you know, Dara O'Shea, who will probably be going to the World Cup with Ireland if they qualify. We've got talent all over the squad. It just hasn't quite worked yet. We've seen it in brief spells occasionally, the odd performance here or there, you know, but overall, I don't think we're expecting too much because they've all kind of proven individually in previous clubs or previous times they have got the ability to do it at this level. We've just got to find a way to get them all clicking in the same team, and hopefully we go on a hell of a tear in the second half of the season like we did in the League One promotion season and the Championship promotion season. But yeah, it's the expectations are there because, you know, we went out and signed the top quality of players in this division,
and not only their individual kind of career histories prior to Ipswich is a factor. You know, I wonder whether the fees that we've paid aren't helping either. If we sign McAteer on a season-long loan or for £5 million, is the expectation on him as high as it is? The fees are a factor, aren't they, as well, Seb? Surely.
Yeah, that's a fair comment. I mean, Mattersey has been excellent, obviously, for, what was he, 6 million quid, was he? Okay. But yeah, Casey McAteer is the big one at £12 million. A couple of the loans, you could argue, haven't worked out. The likes of Avon, is he really up to it? Akpom's only got the 1 goal. But yeah, I guess for every case of McAteer, you have got an Azor Matasiwa. So I don't necessarily think the fees will pay a huge part, and all of them apart from McAteer. Egley, the most expensive Championship signing ever, was he 17 million quid? He's obviously got a couple of goals and maybe an assist in there, but he's very, very young, so it adds pressure onto it. But yeah, you know, this squad and this manager should be doing better, let's be honest, than where we are.
Okay, well, let me chuck this question from David David to Dave. Why are we unable to take command of the game? I mean, the stats that I gave there for the attacking momentum graph, and I'm clutching a little bit, but could you argue we commanded the game on Saturday? David's suggesting we're not. What is it that we're missing to be able to just give us that reassurance?
I just think we're too safe. Is that the right word? I think we're too safe, a bit predictable, a bit too safe. You know, again, I said this before, you know, when we caught the lightning in the bottle for certainly the Championship promotion season. And I'm not advocating him coming back in any way, shape, or form, but you had people like Connor Chaplin who just played off the cuff in that 10 role, played off the cuff. And we just seem a little bit too, at times, a bit too pedestrian, predictable, and I think a bit too safe at times. So, you know, you see it occasionally when Nunes is always looking for the ball, you know, that chip ball over the top. When that comes off, brilliant. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's very, very frustrating. And yeah, where I sit, first half, that right side is incredibly frustrating when you see, and it's not just Furlong, but with Furlong on the ball, and perhaps Egley could have it to his feet, but no, he's going to check back inside, and he's going to, you know, place O'Shea, and you know, they're starting again. So yeah, I just think at times we're just a little bit too safe, and as Mike King says there in the chat, we're just lacking that little bit of creativity not perhaps Nunes in the 10 in a deeper role.
But Dave, I guess I'd chuck back at you. Big chances. I know.
Well,
it's like me chucking XG at you.
Yeah, I know.
We are top of the league for big chances created.
Yeah.
I think big chances missed. And to the point that David's making in the question, I guess if I could flip it this way, is if we score
you've got command of the
three
game
in the first half, that's because that's what we were kind of doing. We scored when we were on top in games in 23-24, because I don't think I ever felt like the Southampton Sarmiento game ebbed and flowed. It didn't feel like we ever had control of that. I know we were playing a good team in Southampton, but we scored goals at good times and we scored goals when we created chances. So we're missing quite a lot, aren't we?
Just think back at that season. There were loads of games where we didn't have control.
4-3,
Cardiff and
Blackburn or whatever,
and even certainly getting in the second part of the season, Bristol City, games like that, you know, that were
Rotherham easily.
Sorry?
Rotherham at home. Do you remember that one?
Well, yeah, we're all Rotherham at home, you know, which could have easily gone against us, but we just somehow had the belief and the intensity to find a way. You're quite right, obviously, about the big chances. You know, Joe's posted the table of big chances missed, and yeah, it's you know, it's up there. And well, yesterday was a case in point, because there must have been I don't know what XG said. Did XG say? I've kind of got XG said about our big chances.
3.92. It was 5 big chances to 2. So we conceded 2 big chances to Sheffield Wednesday.
Well, we did. I mean, the Katamari one, as I said before they scored, was one. Yeah, I mean, that goes to show, you know, you should be taking 2 or 3 of those probably. And that's just same in other games. But I still think we lack that little bit of creativity from a deeper midfield position.
Okay. So to that point, I guess, Seb, in terms of goals scored. Rob asks, striker a must? I guess Dave's advocating for a bit more creativity in centre mid, and I'm advocating for...
Oh, no, and a striker. Sorry, definitely a striker.
Yeah. Cover for Matasiwa as well. I think we've got a question about that, so keep that in your minds. But yeah, Rob saying striker a must. Is it just one?
I think it was a definite must even before George Hurst limped off in the 10th minute or whatever it was. George Hurst had an excellent pre-season, didn't he? And we saw a couple of years ago at this level, he was so crucial in making that space for the three behind for Broadhead, Burns and Chaplin. And they were the ones that would kind of get the benefits of him toiling up front and battling with big centre-halves. But he's never quite looked at it. Same as the side, really. He's never quite looked at it so far this season, has he? Missed the penalty away at Middlesbrough. Okay, he got a couple of goals at QPR and you think maybe he'll then go on a run, but just general stuff, his touch and his awareness, and it just doesn't seem to be the same player he was a couple of years ago. So I would love a big starting striker to come in who's experienced at this level. Who that is, I don't really know. I guess there's arguments around Azon. He's not the same player when he starts games versus when he comes on against tired defenders. So if you can bring somebody in, do you just go with Hurst injury dependent and Akpom as a backup and maybe look to send Azon back? Maybe that's an option that we look to do. But yeah, a striker for me is a must. That's the top of the list for me, ahead of Matasiwa's midfield cover, ahead of a starting player alongside him. I think we need a quality striker who knows the level and can pretty much, just like, we've referenced Kiefer Moore so many times, just like Kiefer Moore a couple of years ago, who was experienced, can come in, hit the ground running, and hopefully make the difference in the second half of the season.
Yeah, there's not too many of those kind of players.
That's the problem, isn't it? In January, it's a tough deal to do, isn't it?
How excited are you at the completely, I would guess, made up, fabricated link to Brennan Johnson today? So did you see that?
It just feels right, doesn't it? Bring him home, bring him the legacy of the player. There's no chance. I'd be staggered, wouldn't you, if he comes here? He's probably not forgiven you when he shushed you in the
he scored,
in the Spurs
didn't he?
game
He owes
back
me
in
one.
February. Whenever it was, apparently he's linked with Palace. If Palace are in for him, we haven't got a chance. Let's be honest. If he did come here, he'd be absolutely phenomenal. But I cannot see it happening at all.
He's not going to drop out of the Prem, surely.
No, you'd be amazed, wouldn't you? This is a guy that scored the winning goal in the Europa League final back in May. I can't see him dropping down to the Championship.
Unfortunately not, I'd say.
He'd be amazing. He'd tear it up. He'd probably be one of the best players in the league. But I cannot see it happening.
That'd be even more unlikely than Gabriel Batistuta all those years ago, I'd wager.
And we need to say Merry Christmas and thank you to NPR26V. He's at it again with the $20 super sticker. Thank you so much for your support, NPR26V. Thank you so much for that. If you're going to do likewise, there is a button in the YouTube super chat. But as we always say, a thumbs up, 5-star podcast rating on your app of choice is very much appreciated as well. But thank you, everyone, for your support and your kind words. This question, Dave, I'll do the end bit because North Centre, I think we've dealt with it. Exits, is any new thoughts on players to depart?
I mean, surely Johnson's the obvious one on a big wage, as we I think we know, on a big wage. Surely Johnson. Yeah, and then
we've got to clear some space, haven't we? Because I don't think we can get rid of. Everyone's in the chat going, "Send the loanees back," or whatever, which I think is an exaggeration. I'm not sure we can.
There's obligations, isn't there, on Kiyus, and Akpom? So I'd be amazed if you can terminate those ones.
I'm not sure how that works.
Goes out on loan or something like that. To
Who's that?
Modric. So I just don't see how he gets into it. He's not getting in the left hand side role, and I just don't. It just feels like one. I love Modric. But I just
wholehearted.
Exactly, but I just don't see how he gets in the. Maybe he gets in the team because the 10 just is so inconsistent. But if Nunes is getting 6 assists and 3 goals from
he's not replacing him, is he? It's an odd one. He hasn't had much luck with injuries since he's been here as well. And you would hope that after last season, he'd be fit this season. He'd be absolutely flying and rip it up again. But sadly, it just hasn't happened. One thing or another. And I haven't seen McKenna's post match from yesterday, but apparently he was kind of a bit not committal, but a bit vague about Smodic.
I think.
Okay. So maybe he's got the bug, but. Yeah, would that be a surprise? No, probably not. A player like that probably does need to be playing regularly.
Interesting one from Michael here, Seb. Forget about playing well. Do you just need to stay lucky for the rest of the season?
As Ben quotes on the flagship quite a lot, Deflection FC, Lucky FC, that'd be great if that could make a reappearance, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And one of Borough and Coventry imploding like Leeds, that'd be useful as well.
I guess, so the question as well, Seb, if the second half of the season pans out like this half, let's say we finish third and we kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back for most of the season, you'd hope that we'd improve, I think, and January would strengthen. But is that acceptable for you? I guess we chatted about expectations and stuff like that. I'm not sure the fan base would. It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it would. If you're going to take, if you're going to win 2 games out of 4 with a couple of draws and a defeat in there as well, where it's going to be, then there's going to be some very frustrating weeks. And because the table is so bunched up, you could be moving in and out of those playoff positions quite a lot. We've clawed back ground on Middlesbrough. It's now crucial we keep that. What you don't want, if you are going to finish in the playoff positions, you want to go in with momentum, don't you? You don't want to kind of stumble across the line. You want to go in there fit and firing and in good head of form for whichever play. If you finish third, obviously you're going to meet 6th. You want to make sure you go into it at the maximum opportunity. And yeah, I mean, the season's all about context, isn't it? If we finish third and we're a point behind Borough and we've had an absolute rip roll second half of the season and they've simply been a point or 2 better than us across the next 24 games or whatever it is, then you have to hold your hands up. If it's all about how it goes. If this lack of winning 3 games on the bounce continues and we have issues around personnel in the squad not quite fitting, not quite clicking, then yeah, I think the fan base will get more and more unhappy as the season goes on, because it's just so frustrating, because you can see it's all there, can't you? You see it in brief spells, you can see it's there ready to go, and for whatever reason we just can't do it consistently.
Interesting thought here from Norman about switching Athon and Akpom around in their 9 and 10 positions. Dave, Akpom, everyone's kind of summing up kind of the mood about the place. Golden Boot winner, like tore it up with Borough, didn't he, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was. Is it time to give him a chance to run up front?
I think he's got all the attributes to play that 9 role. To me, he's far more suited than the 10. But I've said this before to Ben, and Ben has always said, well, he wasn't really a 9 when he scored all those goals. It was kind of Archer was the 9. He was kind of playing not quite in a 2, but just perhaps not quite in a 10, somewhere in between. But Archer, we thought, was the one that was perhaps leading the line there. But Akpom, to me, just seems a suit for a 9. I think, no disrespect to Hurst, but when I have seen him play there, the limited time I've seen him play, the ball does tend to stick with him. He's not touching that for a big guy, but yeah, that's where I would go. As on in the 10, I don't really see that, I don't think.
Okay. Very quickly from Amanda, when is Telegram back up working? That is probably going to be New Year. We can't allow new signups at the moment because we are transferring ownership over, but we hope to have something new and updated as part of our, maybe it's a top tier offering, but something more general in the new year. So apologies for those who are frustrated they can't join Telegram at the moment. We will get that sorted, but it's one for after Christmas, I'm afraid. Final, I've got a couple more questions. I'm just going to find, I've got one about, I'll let you start thinking about it. We've been asked to give the mid-season school report star rating. I'm going to go for letters rather than numbers. So I'll get a rating with a letter out, with A+ being top and U being the lowest, from both of you in a second. And by all means, get your views of mid-season ratings in. What have we got here? Merry Christmas from Carbos 644. What's not 100 knock, whatever it not ho 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 knock 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 knock. I don't know what it is, but thank you so much. Norwegian krona, we saying?
Maybe.
Yeah, wow. Carbos, thank you so much. Apologies if we got that wrong. Thank you so much for your support. That's very generous. Merry Christmas to you as well. Let me find one more. I've got Egley as a striker, Seb. Yes or no on that one?
I think long term he'll go central, but probably he's too inexperienced to go straight up there, isn't he? I guess maybe in the 10 more. We've seen it a couple of times this season, but towards the end of games, I guess, it's Nunez's shirt at the moment with his 3 goals and 6 assists. And they're different players, aren't they? Egley's much more of a goal scorer than a creator like Nunez is. So I think we'll probably see it at times throughout the second half of the season. Long term, I think he'll play central, be it a 9 or a 10. But yeah, I think it's a big risk to throw what is he? Is he 19? Is he throw a 19-year-old up front for the second half of a championship campaign is a big ask.
And Horsler asks, who's going to fill Matasiwa's boots when the inevitable ban comes around? He's looking all right for it at the moment. But Dave, I want to chuck it in there. Ashley Young until January, isn't it?
Oh, mate, he plays where he wants. He plays where he wants. I mean, yesterday you're just on pins. I was every time out he goes into a challenge yesterday. But for once, well, not for once yesterday. He was so clever yesterday, just nipping in and winning the ball and stuff like that. Yeah, it will come, and as we've touched on it in the chat, that's probably a priority. A Matasiwa understudy is probably a priority also in the window.
Indeed. So let's get to it. AIDS asked the question, what's Town's mid-season school style report? What's your rating, Seb Brown? I'm going to start with you. Give me a letter and your
I can't decide on the B- or C+. I can't decide which one I'll go for. We are third, aren't we? So I'll go B-, but I'll be more third because the league is a bit crap as opposed to us ripping it up. I'll go B-. Lots of work to improve in the second half of the season.
Dave, higher than a B?
Yeah,
B-?
no, I don't think so. No, do you know, I think I'm a C+, and my classic school report comment could do better.
Stop talking about football.
Hashtag lazy sod. No. Yeah, could do better. I think so. Yeah.
There we go. Room for improvement. Well, James has gone for a B. We've got a C+ from Rob as well. So yeah, we've got some we've got some work to do in the second half season, but we are third going into Christmas. So let's focus on the positives. Thank you everyone who's joined us in the live chat tonight. Apologies if we didn't have time to answer your question. Thank you again to the folks who did super chats. Thank you to MPR26V. Thank you to Carbos64444. I think I've added a bonus 4 in there just for fun for Christmas. And thank you everyone who's got involved in the chat. Thank you to Dave for insights as usual. Thank you to Seb for stepping up and getting involved in the conversation on the Sunday. Very much enjoyed having you with us as well. And thank you everyone who's been involved with the podcast throughout this year. It's coming to a close. 2025 hasn't been the best of years for the football club, is this worth saying? As a calendar year, hopefully better for 2026. But on behalf of everyone at Blue Monday, if this is the last podcast you hear from us before Christmas, enjoy it. Eat, drink, be merry, or do whatever you've got to do to get through it. And we're here for you. We'll be chatting football seemingly pretty much every other day based on the running order that we've got for the week. So stay tuned, but look after yourselves, and we'll be back. And on behalf, do you want to say Merry Christmas, chaps? You can say Merry Christmas. Sign us out. Go on, Dave.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody. Thanks for following as always, and let's hope for a successful 2026.
Here, Seb.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for all the views, all the comments, all the people that tune in week in, week out. Have a great Christmas and a new year, and I'm sure we will see you at points over the festive season. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Absolutely will. I'm just going to stick a few more comments up. Yeah, thank you, everyone, for getting involved.
Yeah, great.
And we'll see you soon here on Blue Monday. And thanks for watching.